Conventional wisdom is all ass backwards. If you don't ask, you don't get. It's like my parents would never, ever, ever have tried to go renegotiate their mortgage. Do you realize you can renegotiate your mortgages? You're looking at me like, like cacas hanging out of my mouth. Do you realize you can renegotiate credit cards? Back in the day when I used credit cards to live, to breathe, we'd renegotiate them every 18 months. This is my assistant. This is Rufus calling for Mr. Peña on his American Express card. We'd like to reduce, we want it expanded by $500,000, and we want it dollars, and we want it reduced the interest rate. No, you can't do that. It says, well, then I'm authorized, as you can see on the thing. My name is Rufus. Abigail Rufus, we're canceling the card. Put you on hold, manager. Same story to the manager. 3 managers later, I rarely, one time in 20 years did I ever have to get on the phone myself, but I always have other people's signatories on my cards. And okay, we'll give you another, we'll knock it from, and because the rates on credit cards are exorbitant, we'll knock it from 12 APR down to 9.6 APR, and we'll give it another $800,000. Well, the people, the stuff that you've heard subliminally, like when you're in your mother's belly, that your father didn't want to have you. You've been hearing this shit for all these years, so you believe it. It's not true. The world has been awash with cash, for decades. And the people that are running and gunning, you can't find out the guys that went through the program. There was no financial crisis in 2008-9. Only in the little pea brains of your in-laws and you. There wasn't any. And it's easier to borrow $500,000 than it is $5,000. And it's easier to get $5 million than $500. But if you don't ask, you don't get. Now he's refinanced at least twice. Now, the challenge when you do owner financing, which we haven't got there, when I show you through the model and I walk you through and I bring all you retards up here and we have a board and, can't you add 3 and 8 and minus 7? But when you do owner financing, you rarely have any money to pay the fees on a delayed fee basis. So some of you, well, I'm not going to do that fucking owner financing, goddammit. If I can't pull any motherfucking money out of the deal, I won't do the goddamn deal. I'll cut my dick off to spite my face. That's what you'll do. So you got to refinance it right away, owner financing, so you can pull some money out, as he said. We try to overfinance everything, even from the beginning, 120%. But on owner financing, it's harder because you have no bank in the transaction. You only have some dipshit seller. So you overfinance it, and you pay off the fees of the lawyers and accountants, delayed fees. You take money out, and I'll show you how to, in my judgment, how you should split the money. I know already by looking at you how you're going to try to split the money. And you pay your directors and everybody involved, and then you go on to the next deal. Then you go on to the next deal. But it's dead easy. And again, everybody you're going to hear this week, follow the steps. And he even said, but you won't follow the steps. Because he heard the webinars when he was here, but you won't. Because you've got an uncle who's an accountant. You got a brother-in-law who's a lawyer, and you're going to go to them. Wrong. You got a father that's a lawyer. Fucking scumbag, shitbag, you, Walter, a lawyer. No. You got some pendejo from Colombia who's an ex-drug dealer who's fucking, a loan shark. No. 50% of the people in this room will do that. I can tell you which 50. After only a half a day with you. and you're going to fail. And then you're going to go around on the internet and slag me off on blogs. QLA doesn't work because I have no huevos. Because I am a cunt. But we know who's the one that has no huevos, don't we? It's not me. It's not the system. Because it's easier to go back to the guy you went to. And one of those girls on that webinar is an alumni of mine. She went to my school. We had two girls from the same university I went to, the school you got to explain about. Nobody knows where I went to school, but they went there. And she's a CPA, 25 years experience, extremely knowledgeable. Smart lady. What else? I mean, what did you, I'm hoping you learned something. What did you learn from Frank? Now remember, he's 8'3", he's 326 centimeters tall, and that's the reason he's successful. And he's white. That eliminates a third of you. All of you, actually, in the 8'3" part, but he says, follow the steps. He said, overfinance. I wasn't there, this is taped. I mean, I wasn't there. He didn't have little 3x5 cards. Now, I recommend you have 3x5 cards. For those of you that are going to do this on the phone, please have little cheat sheets, so you don't fuck it up. They're little speeches. He said LinkedIn. The moron that asked him about LinkedIn asked him twice, as they would say in Texas. LinkedIn is the greatest social media marketing tool that was ever motherfucking devised. But you're going to find out a way to fuck it up. We even give you a template how to use it at LinkedIn. You do this, and then you scratch your ass, and then you put your thumb in your ass and your thumb in your mouth, and you do. But you will fuck it up. Because not everybody that goes through here really wants to create generational wealth. But if you do, like Frank says, it's simple. He said, how many times did he say it was simple? Anything else about Frank?
2.4 hours to get a chairman. And one day.
Yeah. Of course, when you pivot, if you pivot, 3/4 of everybody pivots because they picked the wrong industry to begin with. Not because it's wrong, but they don't like it. The margins aren't. Or in some places, like in Germany, they changed the law on tax credits for alternative energy a few years ago. It was like stealing. And then Frau Merkel, in her infinite wisdom, changed the tax rebate and it fucked everything up. And so they went for paying a subsidy of, I want to say, 18 pennies per 1,000 kilowatts to 1 penny. So most of the motivated sellers, not only weren't they motivated anymore, they were out of business. So occasionally that happens. And that's why, you're going to foreign countries. I got a guy, his last name is the same last name of the energy minister in Kenya. I think it's Kenya. And I said, is this a coincidence? Your last name is... oh yeah, that's my uncle. And what were you going to do? He says, well, I'm going to do assisted living. No, you're not. You're doing alternative energy now in Kenya. Sometimes fate, destiny. You're going to move to Nigeria. I'm an aeronautical engineer with qualifications. I put men in space. I don't give a fuck if your dick's 14 inches long. You're moving to Nigeria. And that's where he is. Doing energy. If you can't do energy deals in Nigeria, it's Nigeria, not Kenya. Nigeria with your uncle, the former energy minister, then somebody ought to blow your brains out. Now, I looked around for names that I could recognize in your group, and I didn't recognize any. So you got to explain about yourselves. Well, just like me, I've got to explain about myself. But there are reasons to change, or there are reasons to go into specific industries. I went into the oil and gas business because I saw so many oil and gas guys getting rich, and they were all morons. And I thought, if I'll do this or die trying. And then I came here because North Sea oil and gas saved Britain from bankruptcy. And the guy on my board who he's standing in front of, the old gray-haired guy in the picture right behind you, EJ, the picture behind you, the guy in the top left-hand corner in that picture, the big picture with the board member. See? Okay, go down to the left-hand corner, sitting down at the left, that. He founded the North Sea. Dry hole Dyke. They used to call him Robert Dyke, the father of the North Sea. Who better to get on your board than the guy that saved Britain from motherfucking bankruptcy? Dry hole Dyke. 88 dry holes in the North Sea. And there are people out there waiting for you to call on them. To link fuck them. That tool, I can't believe that tool. That tool is unbelievable.
That's why Microsoft bought it.
Yeah, and you're going to figure out a way to fuck it up, though. You'll find a way. And we're going to give you a link to show you how to use it. That one of you put together. It's only 75% accurate because they keep changing the algorithms. Because they don't want you to be too successful. There's no reason. Somebody asked me, well, I don't know if it's your group, Walter, how if I left here the day after the seminar, I could have a board, a deal, financing, and a deal done in less than 30 days. Maybe 2 weeks. I don't like to work 20 hours a day anymore, but if I just work my normal 60, 70 hours a week, a month. Without even breaking a sweat. Just as you can. You'll be breaking a sweat, though. You'll be doing... when Josh was... he had a 60-hour-a-week job, and he was doing QLA 70 hours a week. That doesn't give him much room for sleep, does it? But you'll say, well, fuck, he was 17, 18. You don't need sleep when you're 17, 18. You already got a reason why you can't work 130, 40 hours a week, that you need sleep. He cut back to 3 hours a night sleep, the guy you just listened to, and then he couldn't take it. He only lasted a few weeks at 3 hours a night sleep, and so he had to go back to 4 hours. When you know, it's like when you were in lust with that person, you know, you wanted to fuck all night, fuck in the toilet, in the car, in the closet. When you figure out that every hour you sleep, you're not making money, you'll never sleep again. Sex will be forget about it. And most of you don't get your willy wet. I mean, if you were a woman, who would want to fuck anybody in this room? Give me a break. Look at you. Look in the fucking mirror, please. Now, in the old days, in the 90s, I used to ask the gals. I don't do that anymore. Would you fuck any of these? I'm not asking you, ladies. I'm not. But would you fuck any of these guys? Give me a break. That's why that Sabra showed me the fucking masturbation app. I wish we had filmed that. That I wish we had on camera, but we didn't. Forget about it. And that's why these guys, I mean, you become obsessed. Success is a narcotic. I get jacked up just talking about it now, as you can tell. The last day of the seminar, you're all going to be, and by the way, when you get tired, and because jet lag's for cunts, but I know some of you, just stand up. Don't, because, you know, a couple of you, I was going to whack this morning, but I'm getting kinder, gentler. I'm just I'm not nice for sure, but, you know, I'm a kinder, gentler. But when you figure this out, I posted he sent me a social media thing and I posted it. If you want to sleep more, I forget, it was something about sleep and not just the 3 to 4 hour shift he made. And the guys that are really working, running and gunning, they put their significant other, their sex time on their diary. 1:15 Sunday afternoon, sweetheart. Be there or be square. For real. And I see it in their weekly report. And I'll comment back, you didn't need 3 hours. 3 hours, what the fuck? What are you going to do in 3 hours? 5 minutes and 2 seconds. But it's an aphrodisiac. And then when you go through the car stage and the plane stage and the boat stage, and then pretty soon you don't need any of that shit. You just want to stay in the office all day long. There's a program on TV called Billions. It's about some crook hedge fund guy. And that's not too dissimilar to how it really is. It's the guys and the gals that have, that have been highly trained athletes, Olympians and that kind of thing. They understand. I've never met Phelps, but one of the guys that came through here trained with Phelps, the guy that has a lot of gold medals. He said that, he ate, he slept, and he trained. That's it. Michael Milken, who I do know, junk bond guy, is a contemporary of mine, 1 year younger than I am. He was asked back in 86 or 8 or something like that, he paid himself $550 million. His contract, that was how much he made. And so they were interviewing him, not on 60 Minutes, but one of those programs. And they said, Mr. Milken, you're only 47 years old or something like that. And you made, he made about 3.5 times more than anybody else on the planet. And he said, well, I know. How can you be that smart? Or, does money equate to intelligence, et cetera, et cetera? He says, no. I work 20 hours a day. What is the highest holy Jewish day? Rosh Hashanah or Yom Kippur? Yom Kippur. I take Yom Kippur off 1 day. I work 20 hours a day all the other days. I only need 2 hours of sleep, more or less. And if you do the chart, instead of 46 years old, I'm really 84 or something like that. Because, 120 hours a week. Well, we do, a chart's coming up that shows me a couple years ago that at 70, I was really 131 because of the 100, 150, 120 hour a week, as opposed I had 131 years of time in on me when I was 70, so not quite twice as much. But all the guys and the gals that have created these behemoth organizations like Amazon and Microsoft have this similar work ethic. But Milken I'm talking about, the first appointment that if you had an idea to sell him was either 2 in the morning or 4 in the morning, 2 a.m. or 4 a.m. And he said, you know how many appointments that did away with? It shows you how serious are you. You want to sell Michael Milken in his heyday, the junk bond, king of junk bonds. If I would be there at 2 o'clock, or I would be there at 4 o'clock. We have a thing we're going to go through in a couple of days called the doofus test. I find out when your girlfriend or your wife's birthday is. We have an appointment at 8 o'clock. The only time I can meet you is Valentine's Day, 9 p.m. The only day I can meet you is Ramadan, whatever the big deal in Ramadan is, at 1:30 in the afternoon. Keep going, though. Keep going. I'm going to finish this thought. Christmas, New Year's. Those are the days of the first meetings. They're either serious or they're not. That's a doofus test. I just set up a couple meetings in the last few days. I'm going to be down in London at the end of the seminar. They either want to do it or they don't. Okay, YouTubers, we'll see you later.